What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We continue with our 2023 predictions. BYU is up next. Let's take a look at some of the other predictions for the Cougars. FPI has them at 4.9 and 7.1. Athlon a little bit higher at 6 and 6. I've seen the over/under at 4.5 and at 5.5. So a little bit of a difference there. If you get the 5.5, you kind of like the under there, really just because of their schedule. When you look at this team, this should be a pretty good team. Keaton Slovis comes over at quarterback, a guy with starting experience. We know he's pretty solid at that position. They've added a few transfers on offense. They've got weapons at running back, wide receiver. Offensive line looks to be pretty strong. So offensively, this team should be pretty good. Defensive side, front seven looks to be pretty good. Secondary, a little bit of a question mark. And I feel like I've said that with so many teams this year. If there is a weakness on defense, it seems like it's usually in the secondary. So maybe that means we're going to see a lot of passing yards this year. I don't know. Again, I don't really know why that is exactly. I guess it seems like a lot of secondary players moved on to the NFL or graduated or whatever across college football. But anyways, BYU should be a pretty good team, but it's still hard to find wins on their schedule just because of how tough this schedule is. And here it is. You know, they've got Arkansas in the non-conference. You look at winnable games in the Big 12. You've got maybe Kansas, Cincinnati, West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, maybe 5 winnable games. And again, these are games they could lose as well. And they do have Sam Houston in Southern Utah. So, best case scenario for this team's like 7-5. Despite them being, I think, a pretty good team this year, I do think they get those first 2 wins. So I've got them starting off 2-0. Then they'll go on the road to face Arkansas on September 16th. The game really wasn't close last year at BYU. Now they go on the road. Arkansas should be pretty good again this year. So I don't see this game being all that competitive. I think Arkansas wins, and they get their first loss of the season. They play Kansas on the road September 23rd. Usually you'd say BYU probably could beat Kansas, but this is going to be a good Kansas team. I really believe that. A lot of production coming back, a lot of experienced players, plus the game's on the road. I don't see BYU winning this game. I think Kansas wins this one as well, and that drops BYU to 2-2. Then they'll play Cincinnati on the 29th at home. The good opportunity here to get a win against maybe the worst team in the Big 12, and I think they do take care of business in this game. So I've got them beating Cincinnati. Then they will play TCU on the road. I know, again, a lot of people are expecting a big drop-off for TCU. I think there is going to be a drop-off, but it's not that big. BYU, I don't see them going on the road and win this game. So, I think it's pretty clear-cut. You look at these first 6 games, and I feel like this team's going to be 3-3. Again, maybe they beat Kansas, but other than that, I mean, it feels pretty clear what their record's going to be at this point. It gets a little bit tougher as you get into the rest of the schedule. Texas Tech is a game maybe they can win at home, but I really think Texas Tech's going to be a good team this year. Playing at home, though, does, again, give BYU a chance. I think this is a very close game. Maybe one that they could get. Again, this will be a huge win for them, but I just think Texas Tech is too good. They're just the better team here. Not by a wide margin, but enough to squeak one out. Close win for Texas Tech. Then they'll play a very talented Texas team on the road. You guys know my thoughts about Texas. I think they're going to be legit this year. Talent-wise, they're just so far above everyone else in the Big 12. And so I don't see BYU going on the road and winning this game. I think Texas wins this game. Then you've got West Virginia on the road next. Could be two desperate teams here really trying to get a win. This is one that I've had a hard time with. I think BYU's probably going to be a little bit better than West Virginia this year overall, but that's a tough place to play. It's going to be a physical West Virginia team. I just think this West Virginia team gets a win here. I think it's 4 straight losses for BYU, but then they bounce back against Iowa State, get this game at home. I think they play well in this one, and close game again, but I think BYU does get the win here in this game. Then they get Oklahoma on the 18th. Could they possibly pull off an upset? If they're going to get a big win, a big upset, it's probably going to be Texas Tech or Oklahoma. Both of those games at home. But I think Oklahoma's going to be too good. Too much talent. I'm going with the Sooners here in this one. And then they'll close things out with Oklahoma State. Pretty even matchup. I think these teams, again, are fairly even. But you got to play the game on the road, and that's a very tough place to play. I've got Oklahoma State winning this game. So I've got BYU at 4-8. I look at the roster, and I think this is a 6-6, 7-5 type team. But then when you go through all the games and you look at the schedule, I mean, that's just kind of how it comes out. So 4-8, the record for BYU. I don't think they're going to be terrible. I just think the schedule is going to be really tough for them in their first year in the Big 12. Give me your thoughts, your predictions on BYU down in the comments below.